Hello everyone, esteemed community. I warmly welcome you. It's great that you're back with us. Some time ago, I introduced you to this gem from Makita, the DML-812 battery-powered handheld spotlight, a device that, in my opinion, everyone should own because it's just so incredibly practical, extremely bright, and very compact. But today's video isn't about this Makita part. It's about a similar device from Einhell. Specifically, on our table today, I have the Einhell TECL 18/2500 lithium AC solo battery-powered lamp. A device that not only has an incredibly long name, but also offers a huge light output and possibly other practical features. In today's video, we'll take a look at what we can expect from this compact battery-powered lamp from Einhell and how it performs in the test. I hope you're as excited as I am. Therefore, I'd say let's start right after the intro. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to this channel now and activate the bell to not miss any future videos. You can find the current prices of this device below in the video description. Thank you for your support, and let's get started after the intro. A cordless handheld spotlight, just like compact in the one currently in front of me on the table, is definitely an extremely practical thing, because the device is incredibly handy and usually has an enormous light output. But in today's video, as I said, we're not focusing on this Makita part because I've already introduced and tested this light separately before. If you haven't seen the video about this device yet, definitely check it out. I'll link it for you right up here on the info card. Because today's video is about the 18-volt counterpart from Einhell. I'm curious to see what we can expect from this compact light. On the product box, we already see numerous specifications of this lamp as well as on the back. But I'd say let's take a direct look at the contents. Let's see what's included here. After opening the product box, we find on the side a thick stack of paper consisting of the user manual, safety instructions, and the like. Next is a small Ziploc bag with a car adapter, and finally, the actual Einhell battery-powered lamp. That's it for the contents. The battery and charger, of course, not included in the solo variants. For the test, I've selected a large multi-amp-hour battery here. And thus, the lamp is already ready for use, allowing us to take a detailed look at all its features. Regarding the first impression, I can say that the Einhell battery-powered lamp definitely stands quite well. While the device is made entirely of plastic, it nonetheless gives the impression of being quite robust and durable in my opinion. No plastic residues are noticeable here, and the gaps in the housing are mostly consistent. Furthermore, the device feels pretty good when first held in hand, which is not only due to the ergonomic handle, but also to the surprisingly low weight. Despite the device looking quite bulky, especially in the head area, the lamp itself without the battery is quite light. I'd say let's do a quick weight check. Once without the battery, as you can see, the device weighs only 552 grams. That means the lamp itself is really lightweight. The majority of the weight is then ultimately due to the battery attached below. So if you want to have the most handy device possible, it's best to use a small battery, for example 2 ampere hours, and of course, if you want to go on a long night hike for several hours, you use the largest possible battery, such as this one here. For this purpose, we find the battery compartment for the familiar power exchange batteries from Einhell on the bottom, which we can easily use with this lamp. Alternatively, Einhell also offers the convenient option with this device to continuously power the lamp. For this purpose, we find a small hollow plug on the bottom where, for example, using the included cable, we can continuously power the lamp directly from the car. I personally find this idea quite practical because it allows us to use the spotlight continuously for a much longer period. Additionally, there's another extremely practical feature in this context, namely a small thread on the back. More precisely, there's a small 1/4 inch female thread at the bottom for mounting on a tripod. Honestly, I have to admit, at first, when I hadn't yet held the lamp in my hand, I was somewhat skeptical about mounting it on the tripod. Because, how are you supposed to mount such a heavy lamp with a battery on such a small thread or on a tripod? In hindsight, however, I have to say it makes much more sense. Because when I mount the lamp on a tripod, I want to use the device as a stationary spotlight, like a construction spotlight. That means, in this case, without the battery, with a cable, and thus the device is so extremely light that I can easily mount it sideways on a tripod. Well, I have to admit, at first glance it might look a bit strange on the tripod, but in practice it works surprisingly well. However, for those who do not want to mount the lamp on a tripod, they can just as easily continue to use it as a regular handheld spotlight. For this purpose, the Einhell battery-powered lamp has, in my opinion, a very well-designed handle. As you can see, the handle is nicely ergonomic. It's sufficiently large and also completely rubberized, resulting in high slip resistance. Furthermore, it's noticeable that the center of gravity of the lamp is nicely centered due to the battery at the bottom, which means there's no need to correct while holding it, which is also gentle on the forearm. And finally, variant number 3. For this purpose, the device has a large loop on the back where we can hang the spotlight. The only thing I would have wished for at this point is that Einhell includes a suitable carrying strap directly in the package, as we have to get this separately. This one here, by the way, is from Makita in the background. And now, I'd say, we now come to the heart of the lamp, namely the built-in light unit on the front. In this case, the Einhell battery-powered lamp, as you can see on the front, has a total of 7 individual high-power LEDs and a large reflector all around to ensure that the light is nicely centered. At the very front, there is, of course, a cover to protect the LEDs, and directly behind it in the housing, there's a large aluminum heat sink for dissipating heat so that the LEDs last as long as possible. Regarding the modes, the Einhell cordless lamp unfortunately only has 2 simple brightness levels compared to the Makita. After pressing the button, we end up in the first brightness level, and with another press, we reach brightness level number 2. And then we can deactivate the device again. In that regard, I can say the lamp has really good illumination. While the LEDs mainly function as spotlights, focusing on a point in the distance, they also have a lot of power on the other hand. Here, I've easily measured illumination distances of up to 300 meters, where the object in the distance is still very well lit. So definitely, I consider 500, maybe even 600 meters realistic here as well. I also measured these values for you in practice. I started with the beam angle. As mentioned earlier, the lamp mainly focuses on the spotlight, but it also achieves a kind of floodlight effect in practice. The spotlight is, as the name suggests, and as you can see very nicely in the test, really focused on a small point. For this reason, the narrow beam angle is quite difficult to measure. Nevertheless, in the test, I determined an angle between 10 and a maximum of 20 degrees, so really very focused. On the other hand, the more subtle floodlight is, of course, not as bright as the spotlight, but, in my opinion, completely sufficient. And here we have an extremely wide illumination of approximately 95 degrees. With these values, I begin to verify the light output stated by the manufacturer. For this, I used my multimeter and conducted several measurements at different distances. At a distance of 1 meter, it quickly became apparent that due to the spotlight, the light intensity was simply too high for the measured device, so I couldn't take a measurement at this distance. In the second attempt, at a distance of 2 meters, I finally achieved measurable results. The device now shows 20,300 lux. Converted, 20,300 lux at 2 meters with a beam angle of approximately 12 degrees gives approximately 2,750 lumens, which also falls within the manufacturer's specified range. Thus, the light output specified by the manufacturer is also plausible. By the way, I also measured the color temperature. Here, I determined a value of approximately 6,400 Kelvin. The device is specified at 6,500 Kelvin. I'd say that's definitely a reasonable difference. and thus the construction spotlight emits approximately neutral white light. The only drawback I noticed in practice, the color temperature is not completely constant. Due to the reflector and light refraction, the point in the middle is noticeably yellower, definitely warmer than the light around it. This means for tasks where we really need a constant color temperature, for example in painting or lacquering work, the device is only conditionally suitable. No problem though, as the device impresses with its battery life. With a large multi-amp-hour battery of 6 ampere-hours, I measured a runtime of exactly 7.4 hours in power level number 2. In power level number 1, which is the slightly weaker setting, the runtime is significantly longer. All in all, it can be said that this Einhell device is indeed a solid work light. Of course, there are a few suggestions for improvement, such as also having an adjustable head, as is the case with the Makita. Also, of course, a carrying strap here, but aside from that, it is, as I said, a solid device with a lot of power. So my recommendation is for all those who are already in the Einhell segment and need optimal illumination, whether at home, in the garden, on night hikes, camping, or wherever else. So far, so good from my side. Now it's your turn. What do you think of this compact hand spotlight from Einhell? Do you have experience with this device? Feel free to share your opinion, your feedback down in the comments. And otherwise, I'd say if you liked the video, please show your support with a thumbs up. If you haven't already, then quickly subscribe to this channel and activate the bell to not miss any future videos. You can find the current prices of this device below in the video description. Thank you very much for your support, and with that, take care until next time. Goodbye.